Amazingly, the issue 5 of Visionary is out, so I would just like to go over the Visionary issues in the span of this video, so we can get a complete idea of what has already happened and what to expect of the Visionary series moving forward. This video will cover the Visionary issue 5. Without further ado, let's get into it. On the front page of this issue, we see Ojokshi, the god of the hunt, the titular visionary, in the body of this host, Damole Ajanaku, descending from above down to Eru, the idols of fear on the ground, with either a beast with 3 heads or 3 beasts approaching behind him. The title of this issue is The Visionary Descent, almost as if a conclusion to the story that began in the Visionary issue 0, titled Visionary Ascension. The cover page shows Shango standing behind a mysterious man, dressed in a very Western attire, hiding his face with a top hat. The story picks off in the First Peak of Iganle, on the 7 peaks towering behind the village shelter, which were loaned to 7 gods that came to hide at Iganle at a time of peril. Iganle is an essential location in the Comic Republic because it harbors not just mortals, but godly beings. At the First Peak of Iganle, we see Shango confronting Eru, exactly where we left off at the last issue. Shango's verve, his symbol of authority, was planted on the hills around. He asks the idols of fear, "Do you know who and what you are taking into that forbidden place, Eru?" The place in question is the Stravot Kashroto. It's the real realm of fear, where all fears are given form. This is where all fears dwell. It's also the realm where Eru locks away all the creatures of the night he has captured in his time as the idols of fear. A hand protrudes from the door and grabs down Mole Ajanaku, taking him into the door that leads to the Stravot Kashroto. As he tells the Thunderer Shango that he has left him no choice and the visionary must face his fears. There is a bit of history between Ojokshi and Eru that has not been revealed yet, seeing as it was Eru's verve that acted as a seal binding Ojokshi within his host Damole. But after this, Shango responds, "If that is how you think it is to be, proceed." Eru also enters it through the door and he disappears. Shango and Ara then begin discussing, with Shango saying they walk to their deaths, but if not, if they manage to survive, he will be waiting for the boy. What he intended to do with the boy, I'm not sure, but I think it involved challenging him to a battle for supremacy, as they had a millennium-long beef, Ojokshi and Shango. Immediately after that, Shango is approached by Eshu, messenger, trickster, and enforcer of divine justice. Shango immediately recognizes him, and Eshu greets him, stating it has been a long time. Shango starts to kindle his anger again as he realizes he was one of the gods Ojokshi relied on, and prepared to fight against him. We then cut to within Stravot Kashroto, where fear takes form, where we see Eru awaken the sleeping boy Damole Ajanaku. He regains consciousness and we see he is no longer being possessed and back to himself, although he is still dressed in the robe of Ojokshi and wears his marks. "Did I hurt anyone?" was the first question he asked, but Eru quickly reassured him that he didn't hurt anyone, and also there are more important things to deal with, as they are to be weighed. Damole looks around him and lashes out at the idols of fear for bringing him into the Stravot, but Eru reassures him that he can protect him from whatever he fears. We then learn that it is not Damole's fear we should be worried about, but the fear of the hunter, the fear of Ojokshi. What the hunter fears is not of the waking world, it is something cold that disdains the light. Immediately, the entire realm begins to shake as he tries to manifest the fear of the hunter. The way the Stravot Kashroto works is that it reads the fear of those who are within it and creates a physical manifestation of whatever you fear deeply to make you confront it. What does a powerful member of the first race fear? What makes even a god tremble? The hunter's fear is shattering this place. What is the Stravot attempting to manifest? We see the finger of a giant coming down towards them, and Eru even asks, "What is this?" The Irumole was the response he received from the visionary. The second beings in the tiers of the power of the Comic Republic. They are the building blocks of creation. Eru comments that if just the Stravot's manifestation of the Irumole is strong enough to break this place, then how powerful will the real Irumole be? As this was happening, we heard a voice from the corner saying, "Enough of that." Then we see a woman appearing out of the corner through a verve that acted as a portal. The verve was formed by the symbol of the Ouroboros, a circular symbol that depicts a snake or dragon devouring its own tail, and this is used especially to represent the eternal cycle of death and rebirth. This symbol has appeared multiple times within the series as well, often called the Wheel of Axie, and used to refer to Ashe, the command, the word, the fate of all things in creation. With Ashe, Eledumare fashioned the very building blocks of creation, the Irumoles. From the open portal, we see purple flowers begin to grow all around. Purple flowers generally symbolize royalty, luxury, wealth, and spirituality. The human then said, "You should not be here, especially you, Orunmila." "Well, you are not him, are you?" This lets us know that the Irumole that was being manifested was just a copy of Orunmila, but not exactly Orunmila. She then turns her attention to Eru. Eru, your time to cross paths with the origin of darkness is not now. Return home. And immediately we see the same purple flowers appear all over the idols of fear, and he's teleported away. Eru doesn't even know who she is because he asks, "What are you?" before he disappears. The slumbering world rejects your attention, Orunmila. Leave this place, she says as she points to the manifestation of the Irumole, and it immediately disappears. Turning her attention to the visionary Damole Ajanaku and says, "You, my beloved protector, you need to stop sleeping. Your journey will find you no matter how much you try to hide. Oh, how I wish to let you sleep in this life. But as you can see, we have run out of time." And then a symbol appears beneath him and he sinks into it. Finally, she reveals her identity, in a way, talking to an entity we cannot see. "I am the plan of the all, the fate of all things, even yours. I know you see me, and know this, you cannot have him." She might have been talking to Eru because we called back to him after he is teleported back to his home, saying, "What was that thing?" We see Damole in restraints made of vines, wondering, "Where am I?" Then we see the mysterious woman split herself into 3 similar individuals, all chanting, "The visionary must take his place." This might just be my speculation, but the mysterious woman is the Ashe itself, the very command of Ashe with which the entirety of creation was fashioned. I say this because of the nature of our verve, the symbol of our authority and power. The wheel of Akse, or the Ouroboros, we see where Ashe is mentioned. Also the fact that she immediately recognizes the Irumole being manifested in the traveled cash photo as Orunmila, and effortlessly sends him back with just a few words, easily dismisses Eru and restrains the visionary. And the confirmation for me is when she refers to herself as the fate of all things, words only used to refer to one other being in the comic public universe, which is Ashe. We then cut back to Iganle, where Ozokshi teleported his children to, with Funto asking where her brother is, and Orion, their grandmother's familiar, tells her that he is not here, but he is alive. They then stay at the First Peak of Iganle with a lightning symbolizing the arrival of Shango. Then there is a disruption in the ground as Akpata, the Shigidi, goes to face the intruders. Omishefun, Damole's grandmother, upon seeing the verve of Shango, realizes that Shango has invaded, as foretold, and wanted to go help in the fight against him, but she is stopped by Ajija, aka the Purple Man or the Dust Devil. He was the one responsible for saving Damole from all the evil spirits trying to assault him in the earlier issues, and also saving him from the dreams he couldn't quite understand. The Purple Man is the familiar of Ujokshi, and he informs Omishefun that my master is not here, but still he calls to me, and he informs her that his master's plan will take care of Shango. After all, they had waited for 5,000 years. He tells her he wants to return to his master and that she should stay safe, so his master has a place to return to, and then he disappears and sinks into the ground. Omishefun adheres to these instructions and takes her child into the house and says we must prepare, and then she seals the sanctuary with a spell, Igbalode Ojokshi. Then we cut back to the confrontation between Shango and Eshu. "You who call yourself Lasisi Abeshu, are you here to stand in my way?" Eshu explains to Shango that Iganle was established to protect those with nowhere else to go. Even him, Shango, is someone who has been displaced. Iganle was home to many who have lost their homes. Here, the Ekshas, the Kamis, the Olympians, even those who Orisha labeled as evil based on appearance. Suddenly, Eshu transforms into Eshu Odara, trickster form, telling Apata, "Call down the second peak." Which Apata does with his powers is summon the second peak as we see the hills form before our very eyes. Let's see if the so-called mighty one can take on the 7 peaks of the valley, 7 displaced ones, and the 7 gifts we have carefully prepared for the mighty Shango. Shango, still smug, replies, "Is this the extent of your preparation?" And Eshu assures him that this was only the beginning, Thunderer. Then we get a closer look of the second peak. On the second peak lies a depraved legacy with a white mansion on it, and black lightning coming out of it. Even Ara, Shango's familiar, notes that this is quite a gift of a challenge for you, her master. Shango looks down on it and says, "So you were here all along. I presume the fairs are taking care of you." Then we see the mysterious man that was captured on the cover picture once again, and he says, "The fairs have their limits, Thunderer." Fays are mythical entities in European folklore said to be gender neutral and distinct from gods, humans, and other deities. After this, Eshu leaves the second peak, telling Shango to enjoy, while he prepares the third peak, almost as if he expects Shango to win this battle. The mysterious man introduces himself. "I am Aldrich Lovecraft, at your service, O mighty Thunderer of the Orisha. I do not wish to unleash my foul energy on this land. but my agreement with the hunter compels me to do so, as he begins to bring out several black tentacles from his back. Quickly, Shango calls to Ara as she unleashes a powerful bolt of lightning, striking Aldrich. But after the smoke clears, the true form of Aldrich is revealed, and we see he is a dark slimy monster filled with teeth and eyes. And in response to the attack, "Pity, Thunderer, is that all you've got?" Would Shango really be able to clear the 7 peaks of Iganle and all the defenders that guard it? Exactly how strong is the god of fire and lightning? Will the barriers set up by Omishefun really protect them from the raging battle between the most powerful gods in the Comic Republic? What does Ashe have in store for the visionary? And what place does she want him to take? What history does Eru have with Orochi previously? And what led to Eru's first sailing him? Unfortunately, we don't have all the answers right now. The issue ends here for now. I'll continue to cover more about the Visionary series and other Comic Republic characters. Make sure to subscribe for more content.